Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Nettie Estes, and here we are again, the Tilt Hour, alive and well, and happy to see you. It's Monday night, and as you all know, we show up every Monday night faithfully because we want to motivate you. We want to inspire you. Occasionally, we give you some trainings because we hope that this will help get you through the next week and keep you on track as to what you need to do and how you need to do it and keep you going. And we do it for you, the doer, the dreamer, the entrepreneur, so that you can succeed. If you are new here, please say hi to us in the chat roll, and we thank you for being here. And to our regulars who come every single week so faithfully, God bless you. We love seeing you here. Yeah, it's like one big family, isn't it? So, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So, tonight's topic, very interesting. You know, every now and again, that topic comes along that you go, well, holy crow, I don't think I'll be involved in talking much tonight because I need to learn from this. And I didn't do the swipe yesterday for procrastination. Shirley May did it. And I read that and I thought, this has me written all over it. I am the biggest procrastinator that there is. When I know that I have to do something, I know I have to do it, and I'll do it, and I'll do it well and get it done. But so many times I wait until I'm backed into the corner. And you know, there's something about it with me, and I think this is sick, because it's almost like a rush to me that I've only got so many hours to do it, and I get this high because I get it all done, and I'm like, whew, and I'm totally drained, and I think I'll never do that again. Till the next effort comes along, or the next thing that I have to do. And so I can hardly wait for tonight, because in my mind, there's only one type of person that doesn't procrastinate, and that's those OCD people. We all know them. Oh, hell, we do. And it ain't me. I'm not one of them. And those little suckers, they just piss me off because they're so organized and they can get everything done so well. They never put it off. So if you're OCD, you probably can't relate to this type B person because you're type A person out there. So I can hardly wait to listen to the girls talk tonight and tell me how I can get myself better organized, stop procrastinating, and get going instead of waiting until I am absolutely up against the wall and have to push my way out. So are you all on for that? I hope you are, because bloody hell, it can't do us any harm out there, the rest of us. So let's get it on. Let's go. Let's break out. Morgan, right now.
God, you make me laugh, Nettie. You make me laugh. Oh, I love it how we all take different opinions on what the topic is. Like I don't know if I read the topic wrong, but procrastination, I can talk about that. That's cool. And I love what you said about how you back yourself into a corner and you rush, and you get that adrenaline, because I used to be like that. Seriously, when I was working, I used to, I'm not like an overly tidy person, and I had my desk, and it was always like a typical messy desk with files everywhere, and I would leave things to the very last minute, and then I had, 5 minutes before I'm going to court, I'm writing my submissions, and I know that's not very good for a lawyer, you need to be onto it, and for important things I was, but I know exactly how you feel, and then you finish the task, and it's like, oh, you can breathe out, and it is that sense of relief, whereas if you do it earlier, you do still get the satisfaction, but it's not so much the adrenaline, I guess. I think procrastination is a form of sabotage, in my opinion. And you can you do it for different reasons, whether that be fear or there's lots and lots of reasons why people procrastinate. But what I wanted to talk about tonight is, and I can relate this to procrastination. How do you not procrastinate? What's the one big philosophy that you can use in your business to not procrastinate. And when I was thinking about this, the answer that came up was you have to fall in love with what you're doing. You have to really fall in love with what you're doing. And when I look back in my job, did I love it? I enjoyed working at it. I enjoyed working as a lawyer, not as much as I currently enjoy my current life, because I never experienced that. And maybe that's why I did, I procrastinated back then, because it wasn't a joy to do the work. It was kind of it wasn't a joy. I wasn't enjoying myself as I was doing it. I was just doing it because that's what I got paid to do, right? So now being in a business that I really enjoy, the procrastination is at a different level. It's like I find myself now rushing home to do work, as opposed to rushing home to sort of sit on the couch and be like, damn, now I have to do a blog post, which is what I would have, been doing if I was, for example, working as a lawyer and I had work to do at home. Like if I was working from home as a lawyer, I'd probably have a pile sitting there and I'd be like, oh God, do I really have to go through that? Because it's not what you're going for. It's just a kind of a side thing. It's not your dream. It's not your passion. So my main message, the main thing that I wanted to say tonight is you have to learn to fall in love with what you're doing. And it doesn't necessarily come at the beginning. I've been doing this for just over 2 years now, and when I first started, I loved the dream of it. I loved the idea of it. I loved the whole idea and that kind of thing. But did I love what I did? Did I love the actual work? It was hard at the beginning. The technical stuff can be challenging. And for me, getting to this level now, the technical stuff doesn't worry me because I've got past that stage. So there's different stages in your business. So at the beginning, it's like every single thing you do kind of comes up with an issue, right? So you're trying to load your autoresponder and things that, glitches are coming, or you're trying to upload a YouTube video and it's not uploading, or you don't know how to change the header on your blog, or, things like that come up. But now, and it's only taken 2 years, so 2 years down the track, I don't have those technical issues. Like, I think as I get more advanced and do more technical type things, then perhaps more things will arise. But I think you kind of stretch your mind, and in that regard, when things come up, you kind of know how to handle them better. Okay, so the point of saying that is that if you currently are at the beginning of your journey, or maybe you're even halfway through, or maybe you've been doing it for a couple of years and you're still facing technical challenges, I want to say to you that there will no doubt come a time where you don't have those challenges anymore. You might have them on a lesser scale, but you're not going to have the kind of the teeth grinding, kind of pulling out your hair, wanting to chuck your laptop out the window moments. Those do go away, okay? And I mean, I don't know if I can speak for all the ladies on the panel. Hopefully they don't have those moments anymore, but you definitely have them at the beginning, and it's completely normal. It's like you're learning a different skill, you're learning something that you haven't done before. And it's like anything you do, whether you're going to beauty school or hairdressing or learning how to, make clay pots or whatever. You don't know how to do it to start with, okay? And you have to learn. And it's once you get over that first phase, that's when you can really focus on falling in love with what you do, because you've got past that first stage. And I believe that when you get to that level where everything's not a struggle, where you're kind of gliding, a little bit gliding, that's when you really need to fall in love, and that's when the procrastination stops. And that's when it stopped for me. So yes, I procrastinated, at the start when I started this business, definitely. Not so much anymore. And I think it's because I have trained myself and kind of got a broader picture for where I'm going with this business. So it's not just a little thing I'm trying to do. It's a massive thing I'm trying to do. And that is, that causes me to be excited, and that causes me to rush home and want to work instead of watch TV. And when you get to that place, it's like, it's awesome, it's really, really cool, and procrastination kind of goes out the window. So I was listening to a Tracy Walker in a circle. I think it's near like one of the top ones, one of the ones that's been released in the last couple of months. And she said something which was quite profound. She said that when she was at school, she was almost like a cool geek. So she was like a cool kid, but she was also a bit of a nerd. Like, she loved to study and that kind of thing. And she said that her whole philosophy was that, and it was the same with her friends as well, so they were all the same, so it was easy for her to live like this, They loved to go out and have fun, but they also loved working. They loved to study, and that was their passion. So they would go out to a party, and they'd get home at midnight, and then they'd do like 2 hours of study. So that just shows you what kind of mindset and work ethic it takes to be a $1 million earner. You know, Tracy's a $1 million earner in our company. She's earned, you know, lots and lots of money in other companies she's done. She's a real, you know, professional leader in this industry. And what she's done is what I'm talking about. You know, she has fallen in love with the process of learning, the process of being dedicated, the process of being committed to be, you know, not just a student, but take action on that, be a leader. Because if you don't love something, you're not going to do it. If you don't love something, you're not going to come home from a party at midnight and do 2 hours of study. It's just silly. You don't do that. You'd rather go to bed, right? But if you love it, it's like you do it, right? So Tracy Walker's talking about this. She's talking about, if you know, she's been like that since she was 18, and now she's however old, 35 or something, and that's constantly how she's lived her life. And you can see that, yes, she works hard in her business, but in her mind, which is the most important thing, she doesn't consider it to be work because it's her passion. So if you don't work like that, so say that you just ignore completely what I'm saying and you say, no, Morgan's wrong, not true, are you not just creating yourself a job? If you don't love what you do, because this business requires work, okay? So if you don't love what you do enough to want to work on it day and night, are you not just creating yourself another job? And if you're not earning millions of dollars and you've created yourself another job, what's the point? You may as well just go back to a job and earn, you know, probably the same as you'd earn in your business. Okay, so I think it's just so important to really get in that mindset where you just love what you do, basically. And it's not easy because there are challenges and things are wrong. But if you don't love what you do, if you're sitting there right now listening to me thinking, oh damn, like I'm in this business, I don't know if I love it, don't stress, because it will come. You know, this business gives you the platform to open up so many avenues that you don't have to, you know, say you don't love exactly what you're doing now. Well, that doesn't matter because you can branch off into different, you know, areas. So something will come into your lap that you do love, you know. Maybe you'll go into a different direction. It doesn't mean you should give up what you're doing, because what we teach here, you know, marketing, you can do anything. Like, as an example, this is so cool. My husband's been wanting to set up a rugby shop, and he didn't know anything about the internet, and he just thought, you know, I'll just hire a big warehouse and I'll just import rugby gear and I'll call it the rugby shop. And just from what I've learned in the last 2 years through this marketing thing, I am in a position to be able to guide him on how to do that. You know, like like I said to him, if you set up a Facebook fan page that's called the New Zealand Rugby Shop or Rugby Shop New Zealand, and you start sending ads to the perfect target, you know, I don't know, 25 to 60-year-olds within New Zealand that like rugby things, people are going to start liking the page. And within like 2-3 months, you'll probably have 100,000 likes. That's how much, you know, rugby is thought of in New Zealand. You know, that's how much it is. So just even having that basic knowledge. And then I said, you know, then you can use the fan page to your advantage, and you can start selling things. You could even just fill up our garage with a few items and start to slowly, you know, build it. We don't need to invest, you know, heaps of capital to start with. And he was kind of opening his mind up, and I could just see the light bulb go off in his head. And he hadn't even thought about that, and I wouldn't have thought about that if it wasn't for knowing what I know just from being in this community. So first message, love what you do. Second message, if you don't love what you do, change your mindset to the way that this can still help you do something else. You know, you can turn into a coach. You could be like an internet marketing coach and have coaching clients. You can market other products. There's so much you can do. So you have to flip it till you do love what you do. And then when you love what you do, you will work on it, you know, as much as you need to. So oh, someone's at the door. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks, Didi. I'll leave it there, and I've got to go answer my door.
Okay, dokie. Okay, we're echoing, so she must still have her speakers on. But what I just want to add to that is brilliant when she said you have to love what you do, and I've never loved anything so much as I love what I do here. I love love helping people. And so that for me is not a problem. Like I think, and I know I'm putting this out here because I've admitted to you all that I am a procrastinator. And I know one of these ladies on the panel are going to address this, but I think where one of my areas, and probably a lot of other people out there, is not so much your daily routines as it is when you have to take on a project that you aren't familiar with. And that's where you can, you know, fall off and procrastinate and procrastinate and not do it. And or if you do start to do it and you realize, wow, this is going to be bigger than what I thought, or harder than what I thought. So I'm hoping somebody addresses that and helps me out on getting over that, and everybody else that's watching. So thank you, Morgan, because I agree fully. You have to love it. Have to love what you're doing. And yeah, brilliant, brilliant words that you said. So I'm going to move on right now and go to Shirley and see what she has to say about all of this.
Thanks, Nettie. And I just have to say I really resonated with you when you talked about being backed into a corner and the kind of secret thrill that you get from you know, overcoming your procrastination and just hitting it out of the park. I think we all deal with that, and I noticed it especially last week. I had a deadline on December the 7th. It was a Monday, I think. I needed to have something up for my trademark attorney, and it was something that was really important. Like if I didn't do it, there would be issues with my filing, right? And so I started working on this this project that I needed to get done, and I was working 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day, because I loved it so much. I enjoyed it. And I realized something about myself that I never realized before, and that was that it's hard for me to tell myself to do something, but if someone else tells me to do it, and especially if it's a government thing involved, it is so easy for me to just blast through and get it done. So I thought that was kind of weird what my mindset was about that. I still have to think through that, right? So basically what I want to talk about tonight, and sorry, before I go on, I just have to give a shout out to a wonderful gal that helped me over the weekend. And she is, you guys all know her. She's always on Facebook helping people. She's in our group, always lending a helping hand. And she really, really came through for me. And I just want to give a shout out to her name. Ellie Walsh, I really appreciated everything that you did helping me with my banner. And I hope you don't mind that I just outed you. Now maybe everyone will be coming to you. But she's an amazing woman. She knows so much stuff about tech stuff and HTML stuff, and I was just blown away. So she didn't charge anything for it, but she sure should have because she knows her stuff. So just wanted to give a shout out to you, Ellie. I really appreciate you. And you definitely helped me reach my deadline that I needed to hit. So what I want to first touch on tonight is I believe that perfectionism is the #1 cause of procrastination. And tonight I want to talk about some of my personal hang-ups surrounding time management and procrastination, but I'm also going to talk about the 2 books that I've read in the last 90 days that have completely changed everything for me. And I'm also going to share a method called Scrum. So I'm going to share the 2 books, and I'm going to share this method with you. So before I do that, I just want to talk about where I'm at. I'm the biggest procrastinator that I know. Like, I seriously know a lot of people, and I'm still the biggest one that I know. And I'm talking about projects that have even taken a year to even start, and days filled with like endless binging, TV, Netflix binging, and I'm all over the place. So, but what I have found is that I am extremely fascinated with how habits are created and how to change behavior. And so through all of this, even though it sounds like my life is super depressing, through all of this, I actually have a lot of fun with this topic and kind of treating myself and my life like a human, guinea pig, because I want to see what is really going on behind my brain. I want to know, right? So this training tonight is for you if you never seem to finish anything, if when you do rush through something that it always flops, that if you believe that for you to succeed that it has to take forever and be perfect, and it's also for you if you set huge goals, always to let yourself down. So these are all the things that we're going to tackle tonight, these mindsets. And before I get to sharing these resources with you, the 2 books I read and the Scrum method, I want to tell you a story. It's going to be short, but it's going to be painful, just to give you a heads up. And the purpose of this is to just give you a real-life example as to how your, as you can call it, your belief system, your mindset, how that creates your life. So as you guys know, if you've been following me in other trainings, other Monday night calls that we've done, sorry, my screen's just jumping around here. I had some issues growing up at school. I had some things going on at school. My dad was an alcoholic, and my aunts were really, really hard on my dad about raising me properly. I grew up in an Amish culture, and so he was really desperate to do a good job and to not, let everyone think that he screwed up. So he made me believe that the reason things didn't work out for me, or if people were mean to me, that it was because I didn't try hard enough. And I began to have a distorted view of myself compared to the rest of reality. So if I was 3 seconds slower at running than my friends, I had such a negative opinion of myself that this suddenly turned into that I was 10 seconds slower. Okay? This is where it all kind of began. I got to a point where I felt that if I wasn't 100% confident I was going to win, that I wasn't even going to try. If I can't win the game, I'm not going to play. That's where that started. And the thing is, guys, this is called perfectionism. And we do this because we want to avoid hurt and we want to avoid rejection. And I know you may not have grown up like me, but you will have had a time in your life that you will have felt this. And this is what I'm going to tell you, is this is where your perfectionism started. You may not be as bad as me, you may be worse than me, you may not have issues in the same areas that I have issues in, but you will have a problem with perfectionism. Everyone does. Okay? So the thing is, guys, you can listen to this story and you can look at your own life and think, oh yeah, that's why I am the way that I am. Because of my parents, because of what they said to me, because of this, because of that. It's tempting to stay that way. It's tempting to figure it all out, right? But what I said before on other hangouts is you can be right or you can be happy. You can be right or you can be happy. You can figure out why everything is wrong with you, and everyone will say, yeah, you're right. That's the truth. I totally see why you're screwed up because your parents did this to you, right? So you can stay there, or you can choose that, do you know what? I don't care what happened to me. I can make a choice to be better, and I can be happy. Right? You have 2 choices, right or happy. So why was I searching for something more? Well, it was basically because what I was doing was not working. There's 2 ends of the spectrum I find with time management, and that is you set a rigid time management schedule, like you have a day planner, every minute of your day is planned out, and some people succeed with that, and I think Nettie called those types of people type A, right? I did not work for me. And the second type of person is they work only when they are inspired, only when they feel like working. This is people who are in law of attraction, and this is not wrong, because if it works for them, it's great. If you only work when you're inspired and that works out for you, that's awesome. If you can get inspired every day and that you can stay inspired long enough to get all your shit done, that's awesome. That didn't work for me either, because there was either too much structure or not enough structure, basically, for me. So I came across, I did my research, and perhaps you guys have heard of what they call SMART goals, right? S-M-A-R-T. It stands for specific, meaningful, action, realistic, and timely. And I thought that that is all that you need to hit your goals. It needs to be specific, it needs to be meaningful, it needs to be action-oriented, it needs to be realistic and timely. And I came across something the other day that said, I think it was from Todd Harmon. He was talking about his new product that came out called the 90-Day Year. I'm not going to go into that, but he basically said that SMART goals are basically, if that's all you need to achieve goals, then why aren't more people, I don't know how he said it, but he said something like, why aren't more people achieving their goals if that's all it takes to achieve goals is SMART, right? S-M-A-R-T. And he basically said that it's like if you would say all you have to do to be a writer is this: capital letter at the beginning of your sentence, period at the end of the sentence, commas in the right places, whatever. And I know I'm being this analogy, I'm not saying it right, but basically what he meant to say was there's a lot more that goes into achieving goals than just the basics, because it doesn't work. Not everyone can set a to-do list and follow a to-do list. Not everyone can set a SMART goals and achieve them, right? There's more to being, you can't just, if you know how to write a sentence, doesn't mean you're going to be a great writer, right? Just because you know why you want to hit the goals isn't going to make you hit the goals, is basically his thing, which made a lot of sense to me, but I probably buggered it all up, and I don't know if you guys got what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to move on. So what did I do 90 days ago that really started helping me? What are my success hacks that I'm going to share with you? Well, like I said, I read 2 books. One was called Mini Habits, and the other one was called How to Be an Imperfectionist by Stephen Geis. He wrote both of them. So I will, after I'm done speaking, I will write all of my resources in the comments just so you guys can get them. But basically, his principles were, for mini habits, you set something that is so small as a minimum requirement that you do every single day, that is too small to give up on. And what this does is it creates a habit. And one of the easiest ways to hit goals is to make something a habit, because once something is a habit, it is easy to do. If it is not a habit, it's hard to do every single day. It's hard. But if you can make it to be into a habit, it becomes easy. And so the theory is, towards the end of the book, so if you set your minimum, your mini habit, let's say it's 10 minutes of working out. Everyone can do that. Everyone, even if you're sick, even if you have the flu, even if it's raining outside, even whatever your excuse is, if you have people over, you can do 10 minutes of exercise. And so the point is that after the 10 minutes of exercise, this is the secret, you don't time yourself. You don't time yourself. And you go for as long as you can go until your body gives out or whatever. So if you set let's say you wanted to do this for business, you set a mini goal that I'm going to work my business 15 minutes a day or half an hour a day, whatever seems so super easy to you that it would be ridiculous for you not to hit that goal, right? And then the secret is you look at the clock and you start working, and then you don't look at the clock again and you just keep working. And what will happen is you do your mini habit, and all of a sudden you'll be working 1, 2, 3 hours without even catching on, because the hardest part about taking action, let me tell you guys, it's starting. The hardest part of working, of doing the things that you know you should do, is the start. Right? So if you can get yourself over starting, if you can get past the whole starting hurdle, you are good to go. The biggest killer to killing procrastination is just starting. Be like, I'm just going to work for 5 minutes, I'm just going to work for 10 minutes, and before you know it, you'll be so in love, like Morgan said, you'll be so in love with what you're doing that time will have sped. Time will have sped. So I know I'm getting a little off track. So I wanted to do more research into these books for you guys, but I decided I'm just going to tease you a little bit with what I know has worked for me, and that will hopefully make you guys go buy the books. I'm not an affiliate with Stephen Geis, but I know that they've helped me, and I know that they can help you too. The other one, the How to Be an Imperfectionist one, was not so much about the mini habits, but it really dove deep into your mindset around why everything has to be perfect, right? And that's why I shared my story with you, is because after I read the book, I realized why I started being such a perfectionist. It started way back when I was a kid, and so his book helped me do that. It was really mind transforming for me. So that what happens when, I'm just going to say a little bit more on mini habits, is when you do that mini habit, the minimum requirement every day, what that does is it gives you so much dang confidence. And when you have confidence, it eliminates perfectionism. It's nothing, you can't, if you want more confidence in your business, the best thing that you can do for more confidence is action. And that's all I got to say on that topic. The next step, I would say, to getting started is after you've gotten that taken care of. So following the Mini Habits book is going to help you get started. It's going to help you stay consistent. Like, it's been 90 days now, and I don't think I've missed a day on working on my business or working out. So that's awesome. But the next step is to focus on progress and gradual improvement. Okay? So books like The Compound Effect or The Slight Edge are really great for helping your mind understand that if you just do something consistently, that it compounds over time, right? So if I've agreed to work out 10 minutes a day is my mini habit, and then I go over it and I go and do the 30-minute exercise in the 21-day fix workout that I'm doing, right? So if I do a month of that, it's not just that I have met my goals, but just going that little bit farther and going just a little bit above and beyond propels you way faster, right? It's crazy. It's just, but here's the thing, with the type of person I am, if I would have looked at myself and told myself I have to do a 30-minute workout every single day, I would have probably procrastinated every dang day, and I probably wouldn't have even gotten one day in a month where I do a 30-minute workout, right? But if I start out saying I'm only going to do 10 minutes, I can do the whole freaking 30 minutes. It's the craziest mind screwery that's going on. I don't even know why that happens, but that's how it happens, right? So there are two tools that I use for this. One is my calendar, and every single day I write down if I achieved my mini habit. I just keep track. That's it. And then at the end of the month, I see if this month has been better than last month. So I keep track of my progress. And that's super important because that gives you confidence as well. And when you have a lot of confidence, then taking action is not a problem at all. The second thing that I use is as a board, a cork board, and I call it my Scrum board. I'm going to show you guys real quickly if I can get my screen. It's a really big board. Crap, it's not going to work. Anywho, but you have 5 columns. You can use sticky notes, and what you divide the 5 columns on is backlog, sprint, doing, done, and wins. So I'm going to kind of describe these different columns that you have. So backlog is where you do a big brain dump of all the projects that need to be done. Like Nettie said, it's really easy. It's easy to do the day-to-day things that you need to do, like blog daily, video daily, email your list daily, but it's harder to do the bigger things, like the bigger projects, like setting up a blog, setting up an autoresponder sequence, setting up a sales funnel, setting up Facebook ads. Those are huge projects that are easy to procrastinate on. So this Scrum method is what I use for huge projects. So backlog is what you do when you need to brain dump and just put everything down that you need to do. A sprint is something that you do. You set an amount of time that you're going to focus on to get certain things done. So you basically move all the sticky notes over from backlog to sprint. You're going to say, oh, it's going to take me 7 days to get these 3 things done. And then all you do for those 7 days is you focus on those 3 things and you get them done. You sprint them. You don't focus on anything else. You don't focus on the backlog. You don't focus on anything else but those 3 things. During the sprint, and this is another thing that time management teaches, is, or sorry, not time management, that you teach to get rid of procrastination, is to break things down into smaller tasks, right? So when you're doing your sprint, if you have, let's say, you have set up a blog as one of the things that you're supposed to do in your sprint, well, you need to get your visual stuff together for your banner, and your footer banner, and your side banner. You may need to do your About Me section. You may need to do your capture pages, right? So you break all that down into your sprint. And then the next column that we have is the doing column. So there's only allowed to be one sticky note in the doing column as you are doing it. So you leave everything in the sprint section, and you move the one sticky note that you are working on right now. It might be writing an email, it might be creating a Canva banner, but you only move that one thing there, and you focus on doing that. And then the next column is the done column. So as soon as you are done doing that one thing, you move it over to done. And then you start all over again, and you go back to the sprint, and you choose one more thing. And then you move it over. So I know I'm taking a lot more time than I had planned, but basically this is a really good system for you to visually see what needs to be done and to get it done without feeling overwhelmed. I think that's really something that people struggle with when they're procrastinating, is they feel things are too big, right? So this Scrum method breaks things down to feel like it's manageable, and it also helps you visually see that you only have to work on one thing at a time. That's really the secret key to time management. Last thing I'm going to say about Scrum, if you guys buy the book, it was created by a guy mainly for tech companies. He created it, and he first put it into practice, I believe, for the FBI. So what happened was the FBI had this system for filing stuff, which was paper. It was a paper filing system. And so you can imagine things were all over the place. Cases were getting unorganized. Things were falling through the cracks, because when you have paper, when you file everything with paper, it can get crazy, right? So they had to come up with a digital way to file everything. And the FBI hired all these tech companies to come up with something digital, and they kept failing, and they kept failing, and this was a $100 million project, and every tech company they hired kept failing and taking too long and never meeting the deadlines for the project and stuff. So this guy came up with Scrum, and it was created to be used for a team of people. The way the book is written, it's for a team of people. It helps a team work together on one project. But I've read the book with, I guess you could call, a marketer's eye, and I found that I can use this for myself, just one person. So again, you have the backlog, which is your brain dump of all the shit you got to do, right? You got your sprint, where you commit to a certain time period, and you commit to certain things being done. Then you've got your doing column, your done column, and you're good. And then you start all over, you go back to the backlog, and you set up a new sprint. Maybe the next sprint will only take 2 days, because it is a smaller sprint. Maybe the next sprint will be a bigger sprint, and it has, right? So that's basically their mindset around it. The last thing about sprint that I'm going to say is, in the book, if you read the book, they have what they call a pre-meeting and a post-meeting. And a pre-meeting is, these meetings are basically, you're supposed to ask yourself questions. Did this sprint get done as fast as I thought it would? Did this sprint cost me more than I thought it would? What are the obstacles of getting done with my sprint? So if you use this for setting up your blog, you may have had problems with your designer. You may have had problems. You may have put aside that you're going to get the banner done in 2 hours, and it took 6. And you're supposed to, every time you're done with a sprint, you're supposed to go back and understand why things took longer than you thought it would, why things went faster than you thought it would. This is really important because it helps center your thought process. It helps make things clear. So the next time when you plan out to do something and you set out to do a goal, you'll be more realistic about it. It's very unrealistic to think you can lose 50 pounds in 2 months. It is unrealistic for you to think you can set up a blog in, an hour. Right? So when you go through this Scrum process a few times, you'll start getting really good at knowing what your strengths and your skill sets are, knowing what's realistic for you to accomplish in a certain period of time. And then things like goals are not going to be overwhelming for you. Things like time management and getting things done isn't going to be scary. You're not going to be procrastinating. And I'm going to close with what Morgan said, because I know I'm taking too much time, is when you love what you do, then you won't have an issue with procrastinating. And that's true. You got to work hard, but you got to play hard too, so that when you're not working, you're out there living your life. The only reason that you may be procrastinating on working your business is maybe because you aren't living your life either. So your life is just awful. So I'm going to close with a song that I found online that I listen to a lot. It's called Play Hard by David Guetta. And I don't know if you guys can hear it. I'm just going to screen share real quick. All right, so I'm not going to play it for very long, just like 5 seconds. So.
Only thing we know how to do, work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard, keep partying like it's your job. Work hard, play hard, work hard, play hard. We work hard, play hard, keep partying like it's your job. Some fresh to death looking plug.
Okay, I think I'm done. I'm going to hand it back over to Nettie. I've taken way too much time. You guys need to Google that song and play it whenever you're not feeling productive. You guys need to go buy the Mini Habits book by Stephen Geis, and you guys need to research the heck out of the Scrum method. And I'm going to meet you guys in the comments. So handing it back over to you, Nettie.
Oh, thanks, Shirley May. Wasn't she awesome? I mean, she answered all my questions, that's for sure. Thank you so much, Shirley May. Like, Morgan led us off with love what you do, and you came in with the mini goals, and don't look at a clock, and then trick your mind into stretching yourself and track that. And then, of course, this Scrum idea. Man, that's an awesome idea. I was really captivated by that. And you know what else? I don't want anybody to rush tonight. Zen, I know you've got a lot to add to this, and I know Kristen does too. And I just want to put it out there. Do not rush yourself tonight, because this is super, super important. I think part of the problem that people actually don't have success in their business is because they do procrastinate, and then they get to the point where I don't care anymore. Or, I've let it go this long, I'm just, what's the sense? And they don't get themselves revved back up. So what you're teaching us all tonight is just too dang important to be rushed. So if we can't get it all done tonight, next week we can spend the first half hour, talking about it again, because this is way too important of a topic. And, next Monday night it will be just before Christmas, so we probably won't be covering a lot of brand new stuff anyways. And I just want you all to take the time in talking to us, because you all have a gift of telling us something that we need to hear. And on that note, I'm just going to take a second, and I'm going to call out Ellie Walsh too, because that little roof maker, she helped me out this weekend. I mean, she was a busy lady helping everybody and building a roof too. God, that lady is fantastic. So thank you so much, Ellie. She helped me out with my get response and connecting to my back office and whatnot. And I had it done correctly. I just didn't realize something that she told me that the trick was. So anyways, you're the best, Ellie, and we all love you so much. You always make us laugh. So thank you again. Love you, dear. Now, I am going to move on to Zen. And Zen, you take your time, because if we don't get it covered, Kristen, do you mind, like, next week coming back and talking about this? And then Erica will be here next week too, and she can probably add more to it. Okay? Okay?
That's fine with me. I'll throw this out there. Zen, I need about 3 minutes. So if you give me 3 minutes at the end, I can get it out.
3 minutes. So
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you just dandy.
Okay. So listen, I want to tell you that first of all, what I'm about to say, and I'm glad that you put that disclaimer in there just now, because I'm probably going to rephrase in different wording a lot of what Shirley May just went over. However, I want to tell you this, because when I was learning how to ski many years ago, my ski instructor buddy, who I was perfectly happy with, said, you need to take different lessons from different people. And I said, why? You're good. I enjoy working with you. And he said, because somebody might rephrase what I'm telling you in such a way that those words get you to do the action the correct way, where the way I'm phrasing it, it might work for you, but it doesn't totally kick in for you. So I may rephrase and my wording may work for you. It may hit home better for you, or just your ears hear my words differently than Shirley May's, because a lot of what we were talking about and what we're about to talk about is kind of similar, but I've structured it a little bit different. But you know how I am. If people go before me, I always have to make notes and address that too. So I want to throw a shout out to Ellie, because I was stuck with YouTube trying to upload an 18-minute video and didn't realize that just because I was in China, doesn't matter whether I was in the US or China, I really needed to update my YouTube settings to accommodate. And they do that pretty easily. They just have to call you, and they called me in China and I was done. And that was Ellie's suggestion, so thank you. And I just want to tell you something. In our wording for the swipe copy, I laughed because it said something about New Year's resolutions. And 9 years ago, maybe even 10 now, I lost track because I said I'm never making another New Year's resolution, because really what it amounts to is December dawdling. You put off what you really should just start until January 1st or 2nd. And then just like my gym, every January it's busy. And then by February 1st, guess what? It's not. So just start now, okay? Whatever it is that you're taking on, just start it. Be bold and begin, okay? And I wanted to address Morgan because, yeah, bottom line is if you're not digging what you're doing, absolutely, then really do yourself a favor and find something that you are passionate about, because it shows up and people can feel it, and there's a kind of a psychic imprint in your energy that comes across that you're not totally digging what you're doing. So just either dig it or figure out something else, okay? But I was a personal blogger for many years when I went searching for, you know, exactly what I've got. So, you know, some of the techie part I really don't understand, and I know that people like Ellie and a lot of other people are more techie in many regards. But some of the stuff I actually do have down. So I'm going to share some of that stuff with you today. Also, though, in the copy, it addressed procrastination, perfectionism, time management, productivity, and goals. So we talked about procrastination, and I'll get to that, a few tools, because that's going to fall under time management, productivity, and goals to me. But perfectionism, you know, maybe I just was born with a different DNA, but I always have called myself perfectly imperfect, which is probably why the nickname came up of Zen so quickly and easily in my life, because I don't worry about being perfect. If you wait until your website's perfect, there's always going to be something you're going to tweak. Just launch it. Just do it. And tweak as you go. And that goes for everything. You know, I don't care if it's your first day of skiing. Just get on them. Just get up. Do it. And you can tweak as you go along. So those are really important things to remember, because starting is everything. And I think Shirley just said that, but in a different way. Okay. So let's see. What else did I want to talk about? Oh, as far as books go, yeah, there's all great recommendations. I love all those book recommendations and probably have read them all. One thing that has sat on my desk for over 20 years, and my daughter just bought me a new copy 3 years ago for my birthday because it was worn out and fell out of the binders, but it's Shakti Gawain's Creative Visualization, 365 Days. And I wrote a blog post on it the other day about everything is unfolding exactly how it should. So when you get all caught up in, oh, you know, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that right, or whatever it is, just remember that everything is unfolding as it should. You're gathering skills, you're meeting people to help gather those skills and take them even further. And, you know, just tips like that I got from Ellie about YouTube. you know, I would have played around with it for a half an hour or got frustrated because I was in China thinking it was a China thing. So knowing the right people to ask questions to is vitally important. So make sure you're networking your way around and asking questions in groups too. So one of the things for productivity, and it was, I'm going to rephrase it, but chunk it down into bite-sized pieces, because if you put things on, and I'll get into the difference between a things to do list and what I'm going to give you, because it took me a while to get on the program with it. But if you chunk it down into tiny bite-sized pieces, then you'll know exactly how long each piece takes you. For instance, if you know Canva and you know how to do a social media graphic and you know how to do text on there and you know how to save it and drop it into your file and how to upload it to Facebook, Twitter, or wherever you want it to go, you know that it takes you 15 minutes. But if you don't know Canva, you know that you need to dedicate an hour or possibly 3 to learning it before you can do that one thing that takes 15 minutes. So these are the things that you chunk down. Do I know how to do it? If I know how to do it, how long did it take me last time? So I can approach it this time and just get it done. So chunk everything down into bite-sized pieces. Now I'm going to give you something that I just changed within the last 2 months myself, because I used to use a things to do list, and on the left-hand side of my binder I would have daily activities that I needed to do. So read, audios, you know, things like that would be in there. But I found myself not looking at it very often anymore. And so I'd check it off, you know, and everything became automatic, meaning I wasn't paying attention to it. I wasn't giving it my full attention. So I had read from a few different leaders that had mentioned Google Sheets, and I went, oh, God, another spreadsheet in my life? You know, I did years of that stuff. Don't care for them so much. But I went to Google Sheets, and I said, okay, you know what, I'm just going to set this up, because the bottom line is you could drop it into your calendar. And then once you get into your calendar, you can do that on your phone or on your computer. You can alter, have alerts, you know, so that 15 minutes, 30 minutes before you're supposed to do an activity, it'll pop up on your screen, things like that. What I do with my Google Sheets now, though, is I load it with everything that I need to do every day, and then I put projects in there, and I know how much time is taken with that. So that same project, let's say I don't know Canva, I'll put an hour Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to learn it, and then on Thursday I want those graphics done, so another hour, I want 4 of them done, something like that. So I break it down, and you know, really for me, it's about drift and distraction, okay? I get on one tangent and I start drifting in that way, you know. It's like watching YouTube videos. All of a sudden the next one will show up in your roll and you start watching it, and it's got nothing to do with what you were researching, right? So then it turns into a distraction. So then you're off your sideline. So I leave my Google Sheet right up in my tabs, and I go back there when I feel that drift or distraction coming on, and I go, what is it I'm supposed to be doing again? Okay, boom, get there, go there. So yeah, that's my Google Sheets. Is really, you can set it up what in the outside world looks like project management, and it's breaking it down into chunkier pieces. So like that Canva project. Now you might want to sit down and do all 3 hours of learning right in that one day and spend a half an hour on pictures. But if you look at your Google Doc, your Sheets, maybe there's other pressing needs that day that you need to learn it in chunks and just do it on that 4th day. So a lot of it comes down to what is your drift and distraction factor there. Do you need to do it all in one day, or can it wait and do an hour a day? Because sometimes once it's in your mind, the next day it kind of kicks into gear and you can learn other things even faster with it. It depends on how your mind works, and that's something only you know. So you have to you know, take care of that and figure out your own method of learning. Then I'm going to talk about another thing that Shirley talked about, which she mentioned over a year ago about something else, but it was inspired chunks of time. And she dissected it a little bit different this time. But, you know, inspired chunks of time can go on your, in that planner, in that Google Doc. And once your mind starts to get trained that this is what I'm going to do for this 4 hours of the day, your mind will habituate it. And it will practice that way, with or without that sheet. Now you can go back there if you have drift and distraction factor like I do. But otherwise, your mind starts to habituate that. Oh, thank you. Just want to take a sip of water. Give me one sec. Yay, thank you. So habituation, I think I talked about this once before, but Maxwell Maltz in Psycho-Cybernetics discussed it. And that's actually where it came from, the habituation, 21 days or 90 days. That's why there's 21-day challenges, 90-day challenges out there, because somewhere in between 21 and 90 is your number. So that's something only you know as well. And that's from habit to habit. If it's about exercise, it could be 21 days habituates you. If it's about setting up Google Docs and actually following it, it could take you 88 days. We just don't know. So you have to play around with those two numbers and figure out where your number is, because that's really important to know where you start to habituate. And the other thing that I wanted to mention, because when Morgan was talking about doing what you love, and I just said, when you're digging what you're doing, absolutely, it's paramount to the whole situation. But really what I found was even more profound for me was my total vision, which is to show my girl, and then it became all girls, because she's just one of a bunch of 16-year-olds. She happens to be my 16-year-old, and I love her dearly, but I see all of her buddies, and they're going to struggle with it too. Not so much, men don't struggle with it so much, because having children or having a job is not really something that actually comes up in their life plan. But I wanted to show my girl, all girls, and then women in general, and okay, men too, because they're part of the family, that you can create business however you want to do business. This standard that's out there in the world, it's ready for change. So be the change. Just do it, and work it how you need to work it. So if your inspired hours, are a couple, 2-3 hours at a time, and then you need to go work out to break up your day. And I do that a lot. I work in 2 or 3 hour chunks of time, and then I go for a walk, or I go work out, or I go do something absolutely different for 10 minutes to 60 minutes, and then I come back. And it works for me, because I feel like I'm actually just going out and living my own life. So, going to the gym is something that most people have to do either before, 8 a.m. so that they can get ready and go off to work, or they have to struggle with after, 5:30. And I say struggle because when I used to go to the gym after 5 p.m., you wait in line for every single machine, and it was annoying to me. And I'm already not motivated because I've been busy all day, So to me, that's a real treat in terms of being free, to be able to work for an inspired chunk of time and then walk away and actually just go do something that I dig doing, and then get back to, doing another kind of task that's on that sheet. And if I get all of it done because I have a super hyper-focused 4 to 5 hours, then boom, I am done. So that leads me to the other thing that it took me a while to figure out in our business, in particular, Empower, and with blogging and everything. And I don't want anybody to get overly freaked out about how much work it sounds like, because the truth is it only sounds like and feels like a lot of work if you are completely new and you're trying to do everything in one day. But one of the things that I figured out is that the easiest method is to start to automate what you can without ever losing your voice in the situation. So let me tell you what I mean by that. And that is, I figured out that, we were doing these challenges for boot camp and other things, doing, a video a day or whatever, and you pop it up onto Facebook, your fan page, or your own wall if you use your wall for, I use mine for mixed lifestyle and personal and business a little bit. So I pop it up on my regular wall, and I put it over on my Facebook fan page as well. But what I started to do was, and a lot of leaders do this, they repurpose everything. So I'd take that video and I would put it on Facebook and then turn it into a vlog, meaning a blog. You write a few words about what you're about to talk about in the video, and then you debrief after the video, and then that is your blog post. And then I automated my blog post to show up on Facebook, on both my personal and fan page. Although I changed it to just my fan page, and I'll, depending on the blog post and what it's about, I'll put it on my personal wall. And then it automatically goes as an RSS feed, that blog post, to my list. So twice a week on Wednesday and Saturday, they get a blog post. So those are 2 emails that I don't have to concern myself with it. I have a pre-written letter. It has my a small GIF little video of me, and it has my blog post and 1 paragraph about what the blog post is about, and it goes out automatically. So the things that you can automate without it looking too automated, that's why you have to write a nice letter that goes with it, that feels good, so that when people open it, they go, oh, okay, cool. You know, I'm hearing from her again, and here's the title of her blog post, and let's see what she's got going on today. And I think, you know, I don't normally number everything that I do the way that everybody else does on these Hangouts, because I don't think in terms of I've got to give 3 key points or 5 key points, but I just think that when you take everything and take that word perfectionist out of there, because that will definitely slow you down. And when you're working on projects, chunk them all the way down so that you know exactly what you're dealing with every day. And if you don't know what Google Sheets is, you know, and you have Google, you have a calendar, you have a Gmail account, it is right up there in the upper right-hand corner on your Gmail. Click there where it says more, go to Google, and it has Google Docs, which is actually like Microsoft Word, and Google Sheets, which is actually like Excel spreadsheets. And you can set it up however you want to. I put 7 days a week across the top, and I put in things that I do daily in different colors. I do, for instance, Tilt and my emails that I send out regarding Tilt, and I send 3. I send one on Sunday nights, Monday at 11 a.m., and then 15 minutes before the Hangout every single week. So I have that fully automated so that I can go in there into Aweber and just pop in my new topic so that it goes out those same 3 times every week. And it's simple, simple. So the things that you can really simplify, do that, automate that. And then the other stuff, you have to figure out how to chunk it down and get to know it so that you can automate everything but the things that require your personal voice. And that's my 2 or 10 on the situation, and I'll pass it back to you, Nettie.
Thanks, Zen. And I don't mean to rush, but I think we're going to continue this next week because.
Oh, can I just say one more thing?
Mm-hmm.
Shirley May, that word, mind screwery. I love that. That's it. Go ahead, Nettie.
Okay. Anyways, we're going to continue this next week because this was just far too valuable. In my opinion, this was one of the most valuable Hangouts that we've ever had. So I don't want to rush Kristen. And it's 9 o'clock. We've already got some people leaving because our company has a call at 9 o'clock. So I'm going to wrap it down right now. I'm going to thank everybody for coming, but come back next week because we're going to continue this on for a little bit before we wish you all a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. But thank you for coming out. And if you are keen to join us at all, by far, press that button down below and let's get you started. If somebody else invited you to this Hangout tonight, get back to them and talk to them about it and get involved because it truly is a family. There's always somebody here to help you. As you've heard, we are not superheroes of everything here because we all gave a shout out to Miss Ellie out there. So she's, you know, there's tons of people on this team that are super, super important. But I'm going to close it down because I see some people have already left. So take care. Have a great week. We'll see you back here next time, same time, same place. And we're going to talk about this same topic for a while longer. So take care. Have a good week, gang, and rock it out. Thank you.